Hello, hello, and welcome back to the Pert Ale, a solo basic fantasy RPG podcast. I am your gracious host, GM Wolfgang, and this is episode 6 of the Morgansfort campaign. In our last episode, the whole party has gotten together. We now have Aldrich and Magenhild. Our main characters, Magenhild has recovered from his injury from the giant crab spider, and he's ready to rock and roll. He wants to go find his recruit. We also have 4 new characters. We have Druindar Norgwyn, who is a elven fighter magic user. We have Giselman Grusig, who is a dwarven thief. We have Baldric Fleetfoot, who is a halfling thief. And also, oddly enough, a similar name to Aldrich. So one of them may get changed if I continue to mix them up. And then we also have Fritz Ulrich, who is our human cleric. And they all finally have character sheets. My goodness, I actually spent some time and took care of Magenhild's character sheet. And then I also fixed the skills for my characters that came over from a previous campaign where we were using a mixture of basic fantasy rules and rule cyclopedia rules, and playing Palace of the Silver Princess, a BX adventure. So I finally got that all pulled over into basic fantasy. The only thing that they are missing, the characters that I'm bringing in, Druindar, Giselman, Baldric, and Fritz, is that they don't have background skills just yet, but I don't really know about their backgrounds. It's not something that I did in the last campaign. So anyway, our party got together and we went back into the old island fortress, and we encountered a sturge that had some sort of cloth with it that we could determine, some sort of, cloth, and we determined that it was ultimately the whole tunic of a guard of Morgansfort. It was instantly recognized by Magenhild, and it had blood on it. We also gained a clue to the main quest. We found that, but we haven't figured it out yet. So that's something that our PCs aren't aware of yet. But we, as the humans in the, that are involved here, we do know that from our Game Master Emulator Oracle. And so we got that tunic from the Sturge. We almost defeated him, but we weren't able to completely defeat him, and then he ran away to where we're not entirely sure. And after that, let me pull up the map. So here is where the Sturge was that we encountered, and then ultimately we decided to go east this direction. There is also this southern direction here with a door, and Giselman, who was the character who came down here to retrieve that item after its near defeat, and he heard some really bad growling, really loud growling from the west here, and he kind of determined from a perception check that it was coming from somewhere in a more southwestern direction. But ultimately the party decided to go north, and so that is where we are. We encountered a poison needle trap on the door that was courtesy of the Game Master Emulator, and then ultimately the module had a trap here that would send us to a different part of the dungeon, courtesy of an okay D20 roll plus a little help from everybody's dexterity, except for Magenhild. We did a cool, awesome Power Rangers parkour flip over the trap, and Magenhild was also saved by his party members. And so here we are now in this new section here, and it's going to open up a room for us that I didn't want to do at the end of the last episode because it got late on me. So we're just going to dive right in, and we're going to explore this new area of the old island fortress and try to figure out, remember our main rumors that we've heard are there is a goblin kobold conflict that's going on. There is a raiding band of orcs that keep getting into Morgansfort to try to kidnap young women. And also, there's the rumor of a necromancer that is, we're hearing that he has gone back to an area where necromancy was once practiced in the area in older times. And Father Cormac, who is the Bethite priest that we've encountered in Morgansfort, he's not the priest of Morgansfort, but he has given us this warning about this. He's given us this, these rumors, and we're rolling with the fact that we believe they're true. We trust Father Cormac, and we're going to figure it out. He suggested we come to the Old Island Fortress, so we are here now. And so with that, we're going to begin gameplay. Okay, so like I said, we're in a new section of the Old Island Fortress, and it's kind of irregularly shaped. So give me a minute to kind of work with the fog tool to get this opened up for us. We still have a lantern lit by Aldrich, our hero and main character, but we also have a couple of characters that have dark vision. So I think it would behoove Aldrich and the rest of the party that does not have dark vision for him to unhood his lantern. And so we're going to do that, and we're going to see what's in this room. So here is a portion of it that I open up, and then here is the rest of it. Okay. So, let me pull up the room description, and we will go from there. I read part of this in the last episode because it was partially available to Druindar and to Gizelman, who can see in the dark. But now that we're in the room, I'm going to read the whole thing. So, a heavy, long table and ornate chairs, badly deteriorated, occupy the center of this room. Discolored patches on the wall seem to have indicated that many paintings once hung here. And of course, there was the trap that I spoke about a moment ago in this part of the room that our party just absolutely super duper Power Ranger flipped over. And so here we are. Now, might behoove our characters to search the room. So I think we should search the room and then roll on the Oracle to see if there's anything in the room. So, barring the obvious, which is a long table and ornate chairs in the center of the room, so each square being 10 feet, maybe we can assume that it is a 10-foot long table. So like this section right here has the table and chairs, maybe a little over, maybe it's a 12 or 14-foot table, but the majority of this room is not very well described, or not described in detail. It's well described. Sorry, Chris. Didn't mean to throw you under the bus there. No, it's well described, but it doesn't have a lot of detail. And what's nice is that we have the Game Master Emulator here that we can roll on and see if we find anything else in here and just make it a little more interesting. So, let's see. Let's roll on the Oracle. The party is searching the room. Does the party find anything? And I don't have a probability of a higher yes or a higher no, so I'm just going to roll on the standard d6. And that's a 6, which is a no and. So, alright, now is a good opportunity to get back into the random event generator and roll on the verb noun table. So, no, we don't find anything in the room, but, or no, we don't find anything in the room and. So, let's see, on the random event generator, we have a d20, which is a 13. Key location revealed. Interesting. Key location revealed. So let's check our verb list. 77. Strategize. Okay, strategize. 70. Strategize hunter. Not really feeling that one, so we're just going to go ahead and re-roll on the verb list. 12. Escape. Alright, so escape what? Escape 87. Escape Explorer. I can see where that would possibly mean, you know, some other persons down here. Maybe, actually, honestly, maybe bandits or something like that. I don't think that's part of the standard rolling table on this, but we can absolutely roll a bandit if need be. Okay, so going back to it, we have key location revealed, and then escape explorer. I think what I'm going to do is, on the escape explorer roll, I'm going to roll to see if we have a random encounter. So let's start there. We do not have a random encounter. So I think what I'm going to do is key location reveal. There aren't any secret areas in this chamber that we're in. I double checked the module real quick. So maybe it's just something that we ignore. So no is no, we don't find anything in here. So let's start there. So we have a door to the north, a door to the east, and a door to the south that we can check. And so let's roll a... Actually, I need to get my random number generator up. And my dice generator and a name generator just in case. Set for Celtic names, but what's great about this website is you can just literally go through so much. You want some random pop culture thing, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, or Lord of the Rings, or whatever, Harry Potter, Halo, DC, I'm sure Marvel is, oddly enough, not, oh there it is, Marvel, Magic, yep. Minecraft, Mistborn, all sorts of Star Trek, Warhammer. Yeah, any kind of name that you would want. They have a specific Dungeons and Dragons one. Dungeons and Dragons. So, I've never really rolled on these, so that's interesting. I will have to look into that later. Anyway, so random number generator from a 1 to 3, so we're going to say 1 for north, 1 for east, and 1 for north, 2 for east, and 3 for south. And I just closed it. We'll do a 1 to 3 die then. Alright, so it looks like we're heading south. So, yeah, 1, 2, 3. Alright, so we're going to head south, as agreed upon by the party, courtesy of a random number. No, that's not right. There it is. And... Alright, so we'll assume that it took, what, 2 turns? 2 turns, that's about 20 minutes. To search the whole thing, and if only the table and chairs are in here, so I'll say 2 turns on here, so we're at 7 turns of the 21 turns on the lamp, and So a third of the lamp's reserves have been used. So I want my thieves to inspect the door. So let me get my thieves out here. So, alright, Baldric and Giselman, you are up. Alright. Now, we should check the door for traps. So I'm going to give this D100 to Baldric and this D100 to Giselman. Yeah, and they're both going to check for traps simultaneously. We're just kind of streamlining. See what we come up with. Alright, so it looks like I have a 6 for... Actually, a 6 for both? Man, we were talking about that yesterday, or last episode. It was yesterday when I recorded it. What's up with the dice getting the same number? You know, so now fairness kind of like, is this fair? But you know what? It's the it's a very, you know, it's just a nice presentation, so I'm going to continue to use it. But when I get stuff like this, I think I'm going to re-roll. I mean, but they both clearly passed their check for traps check, but when they both hit the exact same number, I just have to question the fairness. So, okay. Actually, they still, with a 19 and a 26. Okay. Baldric fails his check, but Giselman just barely 1 point down, doesn't matter. Giselman passes the check for traps, and he does not detect a trap. He's inspected it inside and out, and he's already run into this trap here with the needle, and it's not. Let's see. I don't believe the door is trapped in the module, but maybe that's something I should have consulted the Oracle for. All right, so. Okay, I don't see any information concerning a trap on this door here. So let's check the Oracle real quick, and I'm just going to give it a 50-50. Do we detect a trap? And I believe that's a yes. Or is the door trapped? So, yes, the door is trapped. Okay, alright, so we're just going to add that little degree of difficulty to the mission here, to the exploration of this dungeon. So the door is trapped, but now previously we have run the detection of traps, and they're able to detect that Giselman is able to detect that the door is trapped. My goodness. The door is trapped. Giselman found the trap. Now, can he disarm it? And so we'll go from there. Kind of a repeat of last episode. Alright, so Giselman, looking into the keyhole, recognizes that poison needle trap from before, and he just, he scoffs and says, it's one of those darned traps again. I don't want to, curse on this podcast. I really want to keep this family friendly. There are so many real play TTRPG podcasts that there's cursing in it, and I don't think the D word's too bad, but there might be people out there that disagree with me, so I'll use a minced oath and just that it's one of those darned needle traps again. And so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to give him a kind of a +1. So in this case, it being a D100 where it's equal to or less than, that's a -1. So let's check Giselman's. Can he remove the trap? I think I'm going to turn my mic down a little bit. I'm really looking forward to having the better setup where all of my audio is recorded separately and I can kind of mix it later. But at the moment, you're just going to have to deal with it raw. But before episode 10, I will have it all straightened out. Hopefully by episode 7, but that really depends on my time. So anyway, can Gizelmand disarm the trap with a +1 advantage here? 14, he doesn't need the +1, so awesome. Perhaps next time I do like an advantage-disadvantage thing, where I will roll 2 separate D100s and give him the advantage over that. He didn't have it, he didn't need it this time, fortunately, but, in the future with this, solo play that we have, and he did just encounter a similar trap right here, then it might make sense to give him more than just a +1 or a +2. I don't know, something to think about. But he was able to disarm the trap, so the trap is now disarmed, and so we are going to now listen at the door. So I'm going to have both my thieves listen at the door. And do they hear anything? Actually, before I do that, is there anything beyond the door that could be heard? That's a yes. But it's a yes and we don't know what's beyond the door. So let me make those rolls real quick. Yes and. So random event and verb now. So 9. Environmental hazard. Interesting. Verb 38. Abandon 64. Abandoned scout. Okay, let's roll again on the verb table. 92. Chronicle 100. Chronicle scribe. Okay. Alright, so environmental hazard. That's interesting. So there's an environmental hazard beyond the door. Let me roll one more time on verb now. 93 on the verb. Mourn, as in to mourn the death of a loved one. And 81. Mourn student. Oh, is our recruit beyond the door? Okay. But how would that be an environmental hazard? So, what if whatever killed the recruit, and we all kind of assumed this cat was dead, based on the fact that his entire tunic was in the clutches of a scourge. But let me think about what kind of environmental hazard would be there. And so I'll kind of consult the Basic Fantasy Rules book, and I'm going to pause and just kind of come back on that. Environmental hazard, mourn recruit. Or I'm sorry, mourn student. And so that mourn student definitely kind of fits into what we're playing here. That there's a really good chance this guy is dead. And so now it's some sort of environmental hazard. I don't know, is he a zombie? Is he a vampire? Is he some other undead or I don't know. So I'm going to pause and then I will come back to it. Okay, I've kind of narrowed it down to some basic environmental hazards that could exist. It could be a jelly, it could be a mold, it could be a slime, or it could be an ooze. And that's not entirely comprehensive. I don't have exactly a environmental hazards table in front of me. Something I may work on later. But so let's roll a d4 on one of these major categories, and then I can figure out what it is. And we'll just go with the... Well, I was going to say we'll go with the basic fantasy core rulebook to figure this out, but then I also have the monster compendium that I can't think of the name of at the moment. It is... the field guide. So I can check the field guide as well. So we're going to give a 1 to jelly, 2 to mold, 3 to slime, and 4 to ooze, and see which one we come up with on the other side. 2. So it's a mold. Alright, so let me consult the field guide, and we'll figure out what's beyond the door, but it seems like our hearing checks are going to be stifled by that. But we'll just play that when we get there. So, alright, so it appears that based on the monster index that has both the core rules, the field guide, and the field guide 2, that there is only one mold. It is the yellow mold. And so we're just going to roll with that. Apparently there is a brown mold in Osric, and that's certainly a possibility that we can get into down the line, but I'm not willing to convert anything at the moment, so it appears that the issue that we have at hand is a yellow mold in the room to the south. So, let's do hearing checks, because that's what we were doing, and I don't think Giselmund or Baldric... Let's check Druindar real quick, because he is our other demi-human, if they get any special hearing checks, and I don't believe any of them do. They do not. So we're just going to roll the thief check for Giselmund and Baldric real quick to see if they hear anything on the other side of the door. And let me know in the comments if, like, me telling you what's coming up after I roll an oracle check, if you like to know that, or if you'd rather be surprised like the PCs. You know, it's kind of one of those things that I don't want to tell you too much, but at the same time, you know, when I roll an oracle check, should I tell you? So if you'd rather know after we, when the PCs find out, let me know. And if you would rather find out prior to, after I've made the oracle roll, because I can certainly hide that from you. Alright, so let's roll. We've got the black for Baldric and the purple for Giselmund, and do they hear anything? 22 and 50. So, Baldric passed his listen check, but Giselmund did not. And they're... Well, so we have the environmental... so we rolled the is there anything beyond the door? And we have environmental hazard. And I figured out that that was the yellow bulb. But, do they hear anything? Does Baldric hear something? I believe that's a no. It is a no. Well, it's a no, but... Alright, we're going to go down the Oracle Rabbit Trail one more time real quick. No, but roll on the verb now table. Nope. No, but 36. Repair. 76. Farmer. I'm just gonna give it one more go. 87, evade. Okay, promising. 83, artist. Alright, so where we sit now is that there's an environmental hazard, and it was evade student, I believe was what we rolled on. And so it looks like our recruit is on the other side of this door, but the environmental hazard is what has come up. Let me roll on all the other characters real quick to see if they hear anything. But it looks like, based on our Oracle check, there is nothing to hear. Let me pull up my roll for that. Alright, it's a 1 on a 1d6. So literally nobody can hear anything. Although let me see if there is some sort of something beyond the door. Oh, you know what? I think we can go with that. So let me double check my map here. Okay, so nobody knows that we have a yellow mold over here, but Baldric was able to pass his listening check. What does he hear? And it looks like he can hear, like, barking. Like, yarping, you know, kind of a... Does he detect that barking as a type of speech? So we're going to roll a perception check. Alright, so he is able to detect that is some sort of speech. Oh, does Baldric know what kind of speech it is? No, he does not. So it sounds like there's some sort of like barking or yarping speech beyond the door here. But it's faint. So let's open the door with that, like, that knowledge that the PCs know that Baldric was able to hear some yarping language sound. Didn't sound like dogs, necessarily. And... well, let's consult the Oracle. Does the party want to proceed? I'm going to give a, say, a high roll of yes. So we do have a yes, and we're going to move forward. So we're going to open the door. Let's see what's beyond it. Okay. So inside we do see our dead recruit, but, you know, I've not really done much, you know, background on this recruit. So let's figure out what his race is, and then we can go from there. Because we don't have a name, we don't have anything. All Magenhild has told us so far is that he has lost a recruit down here. So let's pull up. We have the 4 core races of basic fantasy, of, you know, old school D&D. And so what do we have? We have dwarf, elf, halfling, and human. And all of these, of course, are viable fighter races, so they could be either. So let's assign on a 1d4, going alphabetically as it is in the book. We have 1 for dwarf, 1 for elf, 1 for halfling, 1 for dwarf, 2 for elf, 3 for halfling, 4 for human. Alright, so it looks like he is an elf. Okay. So that'll be helpful in trying to figure out what his name is. So we're going to go over to our fantasy name generator, and let's check this out. Okay, I've ultimately settled on Norin Thurmoon. I liked the name Fur Moon here as his surname, and then I cycled through Norin previously, so we are going to call this dead recruit here Norin Fur Moon, elf, fighter. How old? It seems. Alright, so we'll assume anywhere from 16 to 23. Alright, let's say 24, just to give it a kind of a 1 through 8. $17. Alright, so totally green. Just absolutely just doesn't know anything. Let me notate that. Alright, so now let me notate his name as well. Alright, so we have our dearly departed Mr. Fur Moon. So now we need to roll Magenhild's reaction to having found the dead body of Norin Fur Moon. Actually, one thing that we could check is how long has he been dead? So we've been out of the fort for 3 weeks. They were down for a couple of days, so we could say that he might have just died immediately. Let's roll on a d4 and see what comes of it. It says 4 weeks, that might be a little long, but we'll see. So let's roll on a d4 and see how many weeks that Mr. Fur Moon has been passed. Alright, so 3. So almost like immediately after us leaving, after the crab spider incident, Mr. Fur Moon has just been dead. Now, we don't know exactly what his cause of death is, but we do know from, we as the humans, the players in this game, that there is a dangerous yellow mold on this guy. So, but our PCs don't know that yet. So, after 3 weeks, I'd say he's in a pretty decomposed state, but then on top of that, I would say that he also has some telltale characteristics of being a Morgansfort soldier. Now, he's missing his tunic, so one could assume that his upper armor, whatever it was, leather, mail, plate, what have you, that's missing as well. But his breeches could still be there, his boots could still be there, his gloves could still be there. I would assume anything that he was wearing on his head is no longer there, as the whole tunic was found and not just a piece of it. So let's assume, well, let's not assume, let's roll on it to see what he has left. But I can do a fair assumption that actually, gloves are probably not. Yeah, gloves, helmet, and outer armor are kind of out of the game. If you're going to pull the under tunic off of a soldier, and it's going to be whole, then we can assume that there was nothing on his head, there was nothing on his hands, and obviously nothing over the tunic. So we're going to make a check on that and see what might be left. So we're looking at actually, I would be willing to bet that underclothes, like underwear, would be standard issue for guard and military and stuff like that, because a lot of people in this kind of medieval fantasy setting might not necessarily have underwear. They might be really poor and just kind of go commando, which is an odd thing to say when we're talking about soldiers as well. So, but you know what I mean. Like, it could be. Let me think on it. It could be a 1 of 2. It could be a 1 of 3. So it could be underclothes, breeches, and boots, or it could be a breeches and boots check. So I will take a moment, and I think I'm going to go with the undergarments, the underclothes argument. And so we'll probably do a 1 and 3. Alright, the underclothes makes sense. So we're going to do a 1 and 3 on this. And so we'll do going from top down. So 1 for breeches, 2 for underclothes, and then 3 for boots. Alright, so he still has his boots on. Okay. Everything else, he's just stark naked. Well, actually, we don't know how his breeches came off. He's in a severe state of decay. And who knows what kind of scavengers are down here. So, but at the end of it, it looks like maybe his boots were a little too tough, or just nearly not as interesting as the other scavenging possibilities in this scenario. So we're going to say that Mr. Furmoon's boots are left. So let me notate some things. Alright, but that does give us an identifying mark. So now what we want to do is we want to figure out Magenhild's reaction to this. And I know last time I used an NPC reaction table from AD&D, I believe it was 2. So I'm going to find that real quick, and then I will be right back. Okay, so perhaps I didn't use an AD&D table. If I did, I can't find it at the moment. So I'm not going to stress about it too much. Obviously, Magenhild's going to be very upset. So let's roll. Well, we're not going to roll. Because, I mean, it just makes sense. Like, he's been talking about this recruit since Aldrich ran into him. Now, I guess the main question is does he rush out to his... Well, actually, let's do a perception check. Does he recognize from 30 feet out, because we are 10, 20, 30 feet out from here, is Magenhild able to discern after 3 weeks of decay? This guy's been dead the whole time that we've been away. If after 3 weeks of decay, I don't think we just see a total skeletoid thing, but we're gonna open the door and there's a whole bunch of smell that's gonna hit us, which actually might be the better way to roll the environmental hazard versus the yellow mold, but I'll consider that because I already did roll the yellow mold and we have a whole bunch going on. But I do want to proceed, so let me think about how obviously when the door opens, that smell hits us. Let me think about it for a minute. Alright, we've been spending a lot of time standing at this door, so we'll just, run with the fact that the smell hits the party, but Magenhild sees that it is a very decomposed body with boots similar to his. Boots that he, I'm not gonna take the perception check. I mean, he's only 30 feet away, and you know, Magenhild is a guard in Morgansfort, and he could just kind of like recognize these boots. And maybe there's some like tattering of his breeches around here. So I'm just gonna kind of roll with it. Now, does Magenhild run toward the body and does not consider anything else? Does do his emotions overtake him? And I think this is going to be the time that I use the 3d6 expansion on the RPG GME rules that I'm using. You know, the optional rules say that you can roll a 2d6 and either keep the highest or the lowest, whether or not you're talking about yes or no. So I think with this, I'm going to use 3d6 and keep the best 2 out of 3. And then we'll have a yes or a no on this. So let's get our 3d6 up. And let's see. I think there's a high probability of him going to run. Because if he decides, if he recognizes the boots, he has been worried about this guy since Aldrich ran into him down here. And if he feels like, for any reason, if the body in front of him is in fact his recruit, I'm going to say there's a high probability that he's going to rush out there and not even consider any possible dangers, even in spite of the fact that we had a trap here that he almost fell into. So I'm going to give him a high probability of a yes. He's going to run out there. So let's see. Wow, I think that's 2 no's, actually. 6 and 6. Let me double check that. Yeah, they're no ands. I don't know if I... Tell you what, I will, because they were rolled. I will roll on the no ands, but it's very clear that Magenhild has learned his lesson from the crab spider, I guess even starting prior to that, losing his recruit, and then the crab spider almost killing him, and then almost falling into a trap and having to be saved, that Magenhild is kind of starting to learn his lesson. Alright, so let's look at our result here. So we have no and. Alright, and then we have to do random event generator and verb now. So, random event. Let's cast our d20. 2. Sudden storm disrupts plan. Not really applicable in a dungeon. 15. Misunderstanding causes conflict. It sure does. Alright, let's check verb and noun just in case. So we're going to do verb and noun. Let me get my ability to do multicolored dice. Not that I need that at the moment. So verb. Misunderstanding causes conflict. 67. Escalate. Alright, escalate. 87. Escalate Explorer. Alright, I'll do another verb check. 66. Meditate. 55. Princess. Alright, so far the verb and noun has not been helpful, but what did we have? We had misunderstanding causes conflict. Alright, let me give one more roll on the VN tables, and if I don't come up with anything that makes sense, then we're just going to say no. Magenhild does not chase after, or run into rather, run directly into here. So verb 21, travel 33. Travel portal. Okay, so none of these are really applicable at the moment, and that's fine. So the real answer that we needed was whether or not Magenhild was just going to storm on in there. So now I think it would be a prudent time for our PCs to check for traps. So let's consult the Oracle again. I know we've had a door trap here, a pit trap here, and then a door trap here. So I'd say the chaos factor in that, to go back to Mythic, is kind of high. So I'd say that there is a high likelihood of a trap, and I'm going to go ahead and make a 3d6 on it again. And it's going to be whatever's best 2 out of 3. So if it's a yes, then there is a trap somewhere in this corridor. If not, then there is no trap. And we'll go from there. I believe this is 2 yeses, 1 and 3. Let me double check. Yeah. So I have 2 yeses that there is a trap within this corridor. So I guess we should figure out which 10-foot section our trap is in. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we're going to roll a d6 and figure it out. 5. So it looks like there's a trap right here. And actually, while I'm thinking about it, it would be good if this was notated as a trap, because we didn't disable it. And it would be something like, you know, playing the game, we would have a mapper who would map out, hey, there's a trap here. So while I'm thinking about it, I'm going to go ahead and just do that. Alright, so now we're back in the game. And it looks like we have a trap on spot number 5. I guess I should figure out what kind of trap, although, well, it could be a couple of things. So let me figure out what type of trap. Alright, so we have a shoot trap that our PCs could very well encounter right here on space number 5 here, this 5th 10-foot square. Alright, so let's check to see if our PCs are going to be careful. Again, I'm going to go with the high alert, high chaos factor. Are our PCs going to be careful walking into this area? Alright, 4 and 6, I believe, are no. They are no, because it's 1 to 3 for yes, 4 to 6 for no. I don't know if I want to do that. Like, maybe instead that we just assume that they're going to be on high alert. And I'm really sorry for all of this. Like, I'm rolling a bunch of dice trying to figure out what the characters are doing, and we haven't moved at all in the last 30 minutes. So let's just move in here. Our PCs are on high alert, and so we're going to check for traps. So black for Baldric, purple for Giselmund, as it has been. Let me get their sheets in front of me. I don't really have to, though, because they absolutely failed that check. But I'll roll D6s for everybody else. And so they're going to step into this this corridor. Do they roll, or do they detect any traps? So we're just going to check. And I will work on notating whose dice are who. I think that's it. I just have 6 characters, so let's go alphabetical on the 6 characters that aren't our thieves. And so we have this ice blue for Aldrich, this white for ice blue for Aldrich, white for Druindar, this more purple colored dye here for Fritz, and then I guess this is more water, so I'll say we'll use the water blue for Aldrich, the white for Druindar, the purplish one for Fritz, and then the ice blue for Magadoo. Alright. 6. What? Oh, 6 plus 1. I don't know why it's showing 6 here. Okay, so there is a 1 on the white, and the white was Druindar. So Druindar, and actually I think he gets a special... Nope, he does not get a special check trap. Ah, but Giselman does. Okay, I'll try to remember that, but it doesn't matter at the moment. Oh, I see, because they're D6s. Okay, so they all show 6 here, in spite of the fact that these are their actual figures. So this water blue was 6, so Aldrich was 6. Then we have the white, which was Druindar. That was 1. The purplish one was Fritz, and the ice blue was Aldrich. Or I'm sorry, Maganil. So, okay. So we know that the corridor is only trapped here, but had there been a trap here, that the party would have, at least one of the party would have perceived it. Druindar would have perceived it. So we're going to go ahead and move in here. And we're going to check again. This time I'm going to add Giselman into the D6 pool, but we're going to do... Alright, so that's a negative on Baldric. We're going to do D6, 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 and D6. And roll. How did I wind up with 2 whites? Actually, I'm not going to check each individual square. I really should, though. Like, I think that makes the most sense. That they're checking for traps like you would in a... So let me roll again. Because I think I somehow got 2 white D6s. So, Baldric failed his check. Now, we're going to check again. Everybody failed their check, but fortunately there is not... Oh. Ooh. Let's go back to our yellow mole. Something I kind of forgot about. Okay, so if disturbed, a patch of mold bursts forth with a cloud of poisonous spores. Each patch covers 10 to 25 square feet. Several patches may grow together. Okay. So a patch covers 10 to 25 square feet. Well, let's figure out how big a patch we have. Actually, kind of wanted to do that by fives, but that's okay. Maybe I'll just round. 25 square feet. So, literally, we just walked into, because 25 square feet. And we're not 10 feet, well, but we're all in there. Yeah, this is a tough one. I think that our party just walked into a yellow mole patch. That's not good. That is not good. Let's not play it to the hilt like we have been. Let's not, let's assume that we're right here. And that, well, I mean, we are here. We don't have to assume that. We are right here. Now, and then there's only the 10-foot patch of mole. So it says 10 to 25 feet. Let's just use the minimum 10 feet. And it's only one. It's not several patches. I don't want to kill my party off. I did not roll on the number of appearing. Maybe I should have. But we're not going to turn back now. It's been 40 minutes since we opened this door. So we're right here at this spot. I am going to go ahead and make a perception check for each character. Alright, so we actually have two that definitely pass the perception check mark. Again, I don't think I have anybody that is... No, so I've got, at worst, Magenhild has a -1 on wisdom, but everybody else is... No, Druindar has a +2. Alright, so I have a -1 on wisdom for Magenhild and a +2 for Druindar, but everybody else is 0. So let me go back here. We have Baldric, Giselmund, and then alphabetical. So we have Aldrich, Druindar, Fritz, and Magenhild. I'm going to mark these on these character sheets so I can keep up with these dice colors. So I'm going to pause. Actually, looking on my character sheets, it looks like I've already made a decision on these, but that doesn't really... I know what I did. I went alphabetical with that, but when I roll for Baldric and Giselmund, they use the black and purple. So I'm going to actually change that from what I did before and make Baldric and Giselmund the black and the purple, respectively. And then everybody else is going to fall alphabetically because I roll more dice for my thieves. Or at least that's how I roll them. Or I could keep it as it sits. I already have it down. Let's just keep it as it sits, and I didn't realize I had already done this. So, alright. Giselmund goes here. Alphabetically, Baldric goes here. So let's just do the checks as I have them, and using the dice as they are now. And I'll try to remember that in the future. And even with my thief, my thief checks, I'll use the proper colored dice. Okay, that does bring up a small bit of conflict. This is Aldrich. This is Baldric. This is Druindar. This is Giselmund. This is Fritz. Now, Magenhild is supposed to be fire. The orange one's down here. But honestly, if I'm just going to go in a row like I am, I think I'm going to assign this blue-purple. So let me just... I'm going to go ahead and change that up. And I'm going to say, just BP on his character sheet for blue-purple. Okay. So, it looks like, based on reevaluating these roles, that Baldric and Magenhild, even with his -1 wisdom, both Baldric and Magenhild recognize are able to perceive the mold. Now, let me check. Druindar, who has a +2, he is the blue here. He does not. So, okay. So, 2 of our characters absolutely do perceive this mold. Now, do these 2 characters know what it is? So I'm going to make another perception check. Or at least just a wisdom check. Baldric and Magenhild. Alright, so I'm going to say they know what it is, but they don't know what to do about it. So, Baldric, or maybe Magenhild. Maybe Magenhild because he's... Well, I don't know if he's more seasoned, because I don't know Baldric's background yet. I have not figured that out. Either way, they're familiar with the fact that this is yellow mold. But they don't really know what to do about it. They are familiar with it, and they know that it's dangerous. So they're going to warn the party, and they're going to opt to start backing out. Like, these 2, at least, are just... They're heading for the door. They know that that's a dangerous thing. So one of them chimes into the party, hey, that's yellow mold. We need to back up now, or we are going to be dead if we're not careful. Like, we need to back up now. Nobody touch it. Nobody do anything with it. Back up. Now, could they possibly back up and hit it with a 10-foot pole? Alright, so it looks like... that it could be... they could hit it and back up. Because it only emits once per day. Maybe they could hit it and, like, back up real quick. There is a retreat. Chart that I was reading. That might complicate things a little bit. I know that, like, I'm kind of like I'm really playing into this, but I think it's fair because I'm playing 6 characters, and I'm adding a lot of extra danger to this, or not necessarily extra danger, but a lot of extra stuff to this this module. So it could be, we could hit it with a 10-foot pole, or we could retreat. And if we do hit it with a 10-foot pole, do I, I could roll on the retreat table in the D12 issue that I just read recently. And, that... Tell you what, I think I'm going to do that because it just kind of adds a little more to the story here. We're playing solo, and it's really hard for me to just sit here and go, no, we're going to play the module as written, or I could completely, flip the module on its head and add a bunch of stuff, and I've already done that. So I think that we are going to go ahead and see if anybody is interested in disturbing the mold. Although we do have the fact that our two knowledgeable people don't really know much about it other than it can kill you. So the smartest move to make, though, because I'm adding information in, so I don't want to meta on this. Our PCs, none of them were familiar with the mold except for Magenhild and Baldric. So we're just gonna, you know what? The PCs are gonna back out. The PCs are out of here. They are not interested in any way trying to disturb this mold. Or, going back to the high chaos factor, do the PCs disturb the mold? Well, they've encountered a lot of stuff. So I'm going to say the chaos factor is high, and we're at a high probability of yes. That they're just going to not disturb the mold, rather a no for the disturb the mold. But, they're just going to back out. Are the PCs just going to back out and not mess with this thing at the clear request of their comrades? I think those are all no's. They're all no's. Okay, I'm not going to do that. I mean, it just makes sense that with the door trap, the pit trap, and then the door trap here, and they were being incredibly cautious here, that all of a sudden, when two of the party speaks up and says, hey, we could die, that they just decide that they're backing out. So we're just going to back out. We're going to back out slowly. Okay. Now we're back at where we were. Oh my gosh. An hour later, not quite, but an hour later, here we are. So now we need to figure out what other doors we're going to go through. So we still have the door to the north, and we have the door to the east. So we'll do a 1 and 2 and figure out if we're going to go 1 for north, 2 for east. We're going north, guys. Alright. I know this feels a bit, at least for me it does, 2 steps forward and 3 steps back. Because now we're right back where we were just a moment ago. But we have discovered the body of Norin. And, now Magenhild has at least some sort of closure in that. We're not searching for this guy anymore. So some things have changed, priorities have shifted a little bit. So now we're going to go north, based on our 1 of 2 roll there. So with that, though, I need to check in on Aldrich's lamp. Now, we spent some time here looking for traps here and then traps here. So I'm going to say 30 minutes have passed game time, which doesn't completely that's not too far removed from real time here. So now we're at turn 9 of 21. So we're about halfway used up on our oil for this lamp. Okay. So we've decided as a party, and I think I'm going to go ahead and include that in this last turn that I have marked down here. We as a party have decided to go ahead and go for the north door. So we're going to come over here, and once again, our thieves are going to listen, and so we have, let me use the proper dice this time, Baldric is purple, and Gizamund is white. Uh-oh, didn't mean to zoom out. Okay, Gizamund is purple. I'm sorry, Baldric is purple, Gizamund is white. And so we're going to listen at the door. We're going to check the door for well, this has not worked very well for the party, but I like it anyway. It adds a level of difficulty that I hope is fun. I hope you guys aren't getting bored with this. I was going to roll 3d6 to see if the door was trapped. And I think I will. I think I still will, because it could very well just not be trapped. Probably not giving my characters the benefit of the doubt here. Or, you know what I mean. There's not a lot of advantage here. Actually, lucky them. Isn't that nice? This would be a nice 3d6 chug for an attribute. 16. Just what a nice attribute check. Or chug, rather. You know, good roll on that. But no, this door is not trapped. But we're still going to make trap checks anyway, because we're good thieves. And we've run into a lot of stuff here. Let me, before I forget, I'm going to mark this on the DM side, because the PCs don't know that over here is trapped. So 1 second, I'm going to mark the trap over here on the GM side. Okay. So I know, and we know, but the PCs don't know that there is a trap over here. We do have this trap known, so we're going to go ahead and mark it on the PC map. Or we have marked it on the PC map. Now, what is behind door number 1? So we're going to check for traps. The door is not trapped, but we're going to go ahead and check it. Okay, they fail their trap check, so we're going to listen. I should have just hit. Okay. Now, I think one of them does hit on listen. Yes, so Baldric hits on listen. Now, the question is there anything to hear on the other side? Okay, the module does not say there's anything beyond this door that can be heard. Certainly not directly behind the door. I didn't continue to read. Okay, yeah, just glancing over that, double checking. Alright, so there is... Sorry, I hate adjusting my mic. There is nothing beyond this door to be heard. Based on the module. But we are going to once again check with the Oracle. And again, a high chaos factor. I'm going to assume that there is a high probability of something beyond the wall. And there is. There is something beyond the wall. Or beyond the door, not beyond the wall. We have one of two options here. Either there is a monster or it's an NPC. We heard something. Let's roll, let's do a 1 to 2 again. Let's say 1 for monster or 2 for NPC. Alright, so it is a monster. Alright, so we have a monster beyond the door. What monster? Let's check our... Let's see, we have fought 2 Sturges, 1 Cecilia, and 1 giant crab spider. But I believe the giant crab spider was placed, so not on the random table here. So in our random encounters, we need to roll a d6. 3. Okay, alright. This is going to be fun. Nope, those are d8s. Stop. 5. Okay. Beyond the door is 2d4 goblins, and that 2d4 is 5. So that is actually fun and amazing, and I'm ready to get into some combat. I'm ready to swing a sword or, knock a bow. Cool. Alright, so I think this will be the last thing that we do this evening before we continue onward. So we're going to get ready for combat, and I will be figuring out surprise and initiative here in just a minute. So, awesome. Okay, so we have 5 goblins beyond this door. But our PCs don't know that. But we did hear something. So now we're going to make a perception check. It was Baldric. So Baldric heard something beyond the door. We know there are 5 goblins lying in wait beyond the door. Or at least there are 5 goblins beyond the door. Whether or not they're lying in wait remains to be seen. So I'm going to have Baldric make a perception check on whether or not he knows what he's hearing. So can Baldric interpret what he's hearing? Boom, he absolutely can. He hears speech. And honestly, the 19 is high. He's not a wise dude, is he? No, he's not. So I feel like a secondary perception check would be wise on us. So does Baldric know what type of speech it is? Flat out does not. So what he tells the party is that he hears talking. It's obviously not animal noises. It's obviously not some natural occurrence that he hears talking, but he doesn't recognize the... Yeah. Alright, so he doesn't know goblin. Yeah, he doesn't have a high enough intelligence to know more than common and his own language. So he hears speech. Now, do any of my characters speak a second language? Aldrich, our main hero, and our main guy. He's our guy. Aldrich speaks Goblin. So let me do a listening check. Actually, I'm going to do a perception check on everybody that isn't Baldric. Because Baldric says, hey, I hear something. And it's speech. And I'm actually going to give Aldrich advantage, 5e advantage. So I'm going to roll 2 d20s for Aldrich. But everybody else, with the exception of Baldric, because he has made his perception checks. So I'm going to do, let's see, Aldrich will get 2. We've done Baldric. So now we're going to do Druindar, Giselmund. Okay, Fritz is here, and Maganil is here. Probably ought to swap those, but that's okay. So I've given advantage to Aldrich, because he is aware, he knows Goblin. He's got a +1 on intelligence, and I gave him Goblin as a language that he knows. So let's chuck some dice. Alright, so it looks like Aldrich just absolutely just does not... I didn't mean to do that. Anyway, it was an 11. That didn't help either. Jeez. Maganhill just like, I don't know. But we have here Druindar. Druindar Nordwin absolutely recognizes that as Goblin speech. So Druindar says, I know that cadence, I know those sounds. That sound is Goblin. There are no ands, ifs, or buts about it for me. I know that this is Goblin. And so there are either goblins or hobgoblins beyond this door. So the party is better prepared. They're not going to be surprised. They made at least one of them made a perception check, and they're not going to be surprised. Now is the Goblin party going to be surprised? But even more to the point, is the party going to... you know what? With Druindar, he is the blue dice. Does Druindar know how many... Can he discern how many goblins lie in wait? So I'm going to roll another perception check for Druindar. He is the blue dice. So, does Druindar know how many goblins are lying in wait? 20 flat. Ooh, awesome. Man, you get those nat 20s. This is a good time to get a nat 20, don't get me wrong. But you want those nat 20s in combat, particularly with my rules where I add in the 5e double, the double damage, the critical hit, and nat 20. So yeah, Druindar knows that he can hear 5 distinct goblins speaking. And so he tells the party that he can hear 5 distinct goblin voices. So now the party has to decide whether or not they are going to go in there and fight. And part of me wants to roll on the chaos that we've been dealing with, you know, like we've had trap here at the door, trap here at outside the door, trap here. Like, are they going to play it cautious, or are they just going to go swinging in and try to slaughter these gobs? And I mean, that's really a good question. So I guess honestly, what's the mood of the party? Okay, so I do have a mood check in this solo RPG emulator. Let me find it real quick and we will do it. Alright, so what's our attitude? That's it. What is our attitude? Seven. Curious. Okay, cool. I like it. So they're curious. Like, some of them are itching. You know, like, maybe Aldrich is saying that his battle axe hasn't tasted blood in a while, but even still, he's had fights. So maybe some of our new NPCs, our new PCs, because they're not NPCs, maybe some of our new party members are itching to taste blood. And so we've got some long swords here, we've got a mace. Like, our weapons are thirsty for blood. So I like the curious roll on that, and I'm good with that. 100%. So we're gonna bust in on them now. I guess we should strategize. So we're curious about these goblins. Are we going to just bust in, or are we going to try to, like, silently open the door, and then I make a silent check to see if they do silently open the door? The party cannot be surprised. Druindar has very much given us all the information that we need. So, does the party... Let's just consult the Oracle. Actually, they're curious, so I'm going to give them the benefit of 1 of 2. Does the party... I can't ask, do they do this, or do they do this? But I can ask a yes or no question. So let's say the yes or no question is, does the party just burst in there? Although their attitude is curious, so maybe bursting in there is not what they want to do. Because they could be hostile or aggressive or anything, but they're curious. So let's say, rather, does the party open the door slowly to investigate? But at the same time, I'm like, they have 5 goblins. Alright. Let's do a simple check. Does the party want to bum rush the goblins? No, they don't. And even more still, it's a no with contingency. No and. Okay, I mean, that makes sense. There are 6 of them and 5 goblins. So let's check this this roll out with a no and random event verb now, and we'll just see what happens. 8. Dangerous creature appears. Yeah, yeah, okay, yep, for sure. So 77. Strategize. Okay. We're hitting high here. 27. Scroll. I'm gonna re-roll on them now. 99. Strategize champion. Okay. Well, looks like I have 2 champions. I have Aldrich, you know, if you're really go with like strength being a champion. I've got Aldrich at a +2 on strength, and I have Druendar on a +2 on strength. Druendar is actually incredibly intelligent and wise. He's got a +3 on intelligence and a +2 on wisdom. Aldrich's not dumb. You know, he's a +1 on intelligence and a +0 on wisdom. So, of our 2 here, particularly, you know, our elf who recognizes what they're saying. So we have strategize. Okay, so maybe the smartest thing here is to have Druendar and Aldrich strategize something. They're not willing to just bum rush into this area. They're curious. They're not going to, you know, burst in there. We know there are 5 goblins there. But we're not willing to just turn around and come up here and go east. We're gonna fight. So maybe our strategy is that we're going to try to open the door quietly and maybe, let's see, I have for Aldrich I have a longbow, and for Druendar I have a short bow. Maybe the smart thing to do would be to try to open the door silently. And I could do a silence check on everybody, or I could just roll surprise on the goblins. I think the simplest thing to do would just be to roll surprise. Alright, so based on the rules, it looks like they could still be surprised, but they're prepared and ready to form some sort of ambush surprise. So I'm going to check. I will check. I will check surprise. It's not quite like a bum rush, but it's still an ambush. Okay. Alright, so I don't have like an official silent check that isn't for the thieves. So I'm going to roll a d6, and I'm going to say a 1 to 2 because we're aware of what is beyond the door. I'm going to roll a D6, and if it is a 1 to 2 for the whole party, then we are silent and we're able to, like, open the door. Otherwise, something happens, somebody hiccups, somebody drops something, the hinges on the door creaks. Let's roll this D6 for the whole party. Awesome. Okay, so we are able to silently open the door. Now I need to check surprise, and I will do one, the black for our party and the purple for the goblins. Actually, you know what? I have some unused dice down here, so I'm going to give the fiery ones to the goblins. Okay, so a 1 to 4 on the goblins, and then a 1 to 2 on us, with the exception of Druid, who gets a 1. Alright, so we are not surprised, but the goblin party is surprised. We open the door silently, and so I'm going to roll attack for both Druindar and Aldrich on shooting arrows. So let's open the door. Let's just do that officially. We're going to open the door. And of course there are... So what I have is 2 goblin archers, 2 goblin soldiers, and then this guy just happens to be right here. So we're going to silently open the door, and we're going to roll attack for shooting. Let's see. Well, we have 5. So let's... Druindar is going to shoot goblin number...
There's a place abandoned by God.
Goblin number 3. So here. And Aldrich is going to aim for goblin number 5. Okay. So Druindar is going to aim for goblin number 3 in this space. Aldrich is going to aim for goblin number 5 in this space. I still have our surprise roll. I'm going to keep that. I have that screenshotted. And so let's roll attack. We're going to roll let's roll alphabetically. So we're going to go Aldrich. So Aldrich is going to use his longbow at goblin number 5 back here. 7 plus attack bonus plus dexterity, which is a 9. So that is an absolute womp womp from Aldrich. Now Druindar. Druindar is going to use his short bow. Maybe. We'll see. So Druindar gets a +1, +2, +1. So, I'm sorry, 3 total. So 13. Ugh. Alright, so our goblin friends are still surprised, but our little ambush did not work. And so now I will roll full initiative. And man, we really could have done some damage. We really could have done some damage, but we did not. Alright, so we're going to roll initiative for the rest of the party. Let's see, Aldrich and Druindar went first, so we're going to remove them. We have Baldric, Giselman, Fritz, and Magenhild left in this little move here. So let me add everybody to initiative real quick. I think I'm going to do the whole... Yeah. Alright. So, I need D6s for these 4 characters. So I have... Baldric. Giselman. And Magenhild. Alright, so Baldric is a +2 to initiative, and so he is 3. Baldric is... Baldric is 3. Giselman is white, and he has a +1 to Dex, so he has 5. Fritz is this color here, and he has a +2. Magenhild is the black and purple. He got 3. +0 to initiative. Okay. So it is Giselman's turn. And Giselman is going to rush in and attack Goblin number 1. With his longsword. See, Giselman is white. Dude. Alright, so that is a miss from Giselman. Fritz is up. Fritz is ice colored. It's light. Yep. So let's check attack bonus plus strength because Fritz is going to use his mace. And it's just not enough. Not doing so hot here, guys. Baldric. Baldric is going to use his short sword against Goblin number 1. Just not looking good. Okay. Yay! Magenhild is next. Magnild is going to use his longsword with Goblin number 1. Ah, finally a good hit. Okay, so that is absolutely a hit. We're going to roll our d8 plus 1. 4. So this is Goblin number 1. Goblin number 1 has 3 HP. So Goblin number 1 is down. Okay. So now everybody is in initiative, so I need to roll an initiative for the goblins. I'm going to give them the brown dice. So then I also need Druindar and Aldrich. Okay. So Druindar is black, and Aldrich is black. Druindar is blue, which is this blue. Okay. Well, our goblins are just on the attack. So let's see. Aldrich gets 4. Druindar gets 3. And our goblins hit on 6. Which means it is their turn up front. So I like to kind of roll enemy collectives together. So I'm going to just roll a d20. And let's see if they hit, and then we'll figure out who they hit after. 10 plus 1. Because they have an HD hit dice of 1. So I don't believe they hit anybody at all. That would be like just nobody wearing armor at all. But I will double check. Nope, absolute miss from the gobs. So Giselmund, you are up. Giselmund is going to use his... He's going to move up and use his longsword on Goblin number 2. Okay. $15 plus strength plus attack bonus. Alright, well that's 16 because he doesn't have any strength bonus. Goblins are AC 14, so he is going to attack Goblin number 2 and hit for how many? 2. Alright, Goblin number 2 is very, very wounded. Alright, and Fritz is up. Our cleric. So he is going to move up and use his mace. Fritz is ice-colored dice. $19, good hit. I know that's a hit. Alright, so he's going to move up and hit Goblin number 2. Well, let's figure it out. Is he going to do 2 or 3? Alright, he's going to hit goblin number 3. Okay. Alright. 1d8 plus strength. Goblin number 3 is out. Alright, who is up next? Aldrich. Aldrich is going to use his longsword. I'm sorry, his battle axe. He's going to move up. And he is going to attack goblin number 2. Yeah, we'll do that. $18. All right, we're hitting some high notes here. Okay, so goblin number 2. I wish I had gone from one of the ones in the back. That's okay. Hits him for 4. Goblin number 2 is out. Okay, so now we have goblins 4 and 5. Druindar is up, and Druindar is going to use his short sword? Longsword. Okay, good deal. On goblin 4 or goblin 5? Goblin number 5. Alright. $17. Alright, we are slapping. We are slapping. Alright, so we're gonna roll damage. 5 plus strength. 8. Goblin number 5 is out. Baldric is up. Baldric is going to use his short sword. So Druindar had moved up. So now Baldric is going to move up. And he's going to use his short sword on goblin number 4. Not very good. Not very good at all. Alright, Magenhild, you're up. Oh, there's only one goblin left, so we're going to move up and we're going to attack him with our longsword plus 1. Alright, Magenhild the Mighty, let's do it. $17 plus strength plus attack bonus plus 1. Very good. So we roll a d8. 6 plus 1. Oh. Alright. So all of these goblins have been defeated. and I'm going to pause here. We've done a very good job. Nobody has gotten hit yet. We'll pick back up on episode 7. So, thanks guys for watching, and, GM Wolfgang out. See you next time.